Everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. We're back with the Bronco doing another install video. You can see some rough country lights, some 3-inch lights. What you get in the box, I already opened her up. You obviously get your 2 lights. The wire is already pre-wired into that, so other than the harness, you don't have to worry about that. You get your Allen key. I'll show you what that's for when we install it. And then this big clump is your wiring harness, and it's plenty long enough because you do have to go from side to side and make it to your battery. So they probably give you, I'd say it's at least 10 feet long. Right now, first things first, before you do anything else, the antenna has to come off. We have the little stubby antenna on here, but you basically just grab it and it twists. It's just a screw in there. Comes off nice and easy. Put it to the side, don't lose it. And that's that. Other thing, you have 2 screws. You can see I already got those out. They come factory with the Bronco. The one in the middle here is a Torx 30. This one is slightly smaller. That's a Torx 25. You have to remove those as well because your wiring harness will sit underneath of this piece. And then one thing you have to do to the lights themselves before you do this, you can see I have it off this one already, is take this bracket off the bottom of your lights. You can see the Allen key that comes in the box is the one that fits these. Take it off each side. Reason being, this bolt on the bottom is too fat. You can see that's the one that comes with the lights, and this is the one that I took out of the Bronco. So to thread it into the spot where these lights go, it's too fat, so you'll have to reuse this one. So you can take that out, swap the bolt to this one, and then you're good to go. We'll have to tighten it down back onto the vehicle before the lights go back on though, so just keep that in mind, but you will have to reuse your Torx bit. Alright, so now once you got the Torx 30 bits out of each side and your antenna is off, you can just come under here, give it a push, and pop it up. You can see the little spots here, goes all the way along, and it just clips in, just like every other plastic piece on vehicles. You pop it up, work your way along, get it all off to the other side, because your wiring harness will tuck underneath here. It's all hollow under there. You probably can't see it, but it's got enough space to hold your wiring harness. Alright, so first thing we're gonna do is get the light itself on there, the wiring part at least. Lift up on here, force your wire through. It does have the fat little end to connect to the wiring harness on there. A little bit of a pain in the butt because you can see when you lift this up, you run into your hood before anything else. So I did get it through there. Just drop it down, put it somewhere where it's easier to plug into the harness for now. Then once the 2 lights are on each side, plug in the harness, and then we're gonna just lift this piece up, tuck it behind these clips all the way along, leave the part that connects to the battery on the battery side obviously, and then we can work on mounting these properly. Alright, so the lights are sitting up there on both sides, and I'll show you the wiring harness before we tuck it all in there. You get this side, positive, negative, obviously for your battery, plus your little relay. We'll find a spot to bolt that to once we get to that point. You get all this length, like I said, and then on this side, you get 2 of these, which will plug into the lights. That's what runs the power to control the lights. And then this, it comes with a little on-off switch, you can see. And this is a Big Bend model, so you don't have the extra auxiliary switches in there, so we'll probably find a place to put this. If you don't want to do that and you want to wire it to one of your switches, if that's your Bronco, you can see they do have a little harness here. You can just unplug that and use the wires in here to connect to the wires for your auxiliary switches, and super easy. Just wire the right ones together, and whatever switch you decide to use on the inside is which one will control your lights. One thing to note before you're plugging these in is if you look at the wiring harness part of it here, it comes with this little rubber gasket around the sides. So when you plug it into your light, it doesn't just snap in like any old plug, it'll actually seal it So if this thing gets wet or muddy or anything like that, you don't have to worry about any water and junk getting in there and short-circuiting anything. Alright, so we got it all hot wired in here. Comes through here. You can see all the excess is here right now. I'll show you where to put that after. And what you want to do now is put the inside bolt back in, because that's what holds down the actual centerpiece. This wire, you want it to come through the very corner here. You can see there's slack there. You can move it. It's not tight. It won't affect this from sealing up against the window at all, and it's not pinching any wires. And you can see you got lots of play in there. So it's made perfectly. This wire fits exactly in there. Next, we have to get these brackets back on, which goes in the outer hole. And what I did is I went and picked up a washer for the bottom, just because this hole is a little bigger and the lock washer fits but not quite well enough in there. So I'm going to put the lock washer on the bolt we took out of there, and we put the new washer that I bought underneath, just to fill in the gap there so you're not pulling on the plastic weird when you tighten it down. Alright, it is all on there. You can see I got it tight but not super tight, so you can turn it slightly. The lock washer in there will stop the bolt from actually unthreading. Then that washer underneath that I bought allows it to turn, so we can adjust that later on. But for now they're on there. And then if you come to this side, you can see, like I said, you just have this little bit of wire popping out, and it tucks into that hole there just under the plastic. Everything seals nice and tight up against the window still. So now we can go under the hood, and I'll show you how to wire it up and where to stick your on-off switch. Alright, quick rundown. Positive to your positive side, negative I put here. You can see, and your little fuse is right there. As for the relay part, I went and bought a bolt, and there's a hole right in this for your support. There's a little hole drilled in there already, so I went and bought a bolt and just bolted the relay there. This will hide away better later on. But for the switch to get inside your car, if you look right down here, this rubber piece just pulls out just like that. So we're gonna slice a little hole in there, feed the wire through, and that'll allow you to get it inside the vehicle. And with just the small hole cut in here, you won't have to worry about any leaks. All right, everything under the hood is done. Wires are in. This I just left here for now. Looks fine. You won't see it once the hood's down anyways. Zap strap it all together. You can come up here, just strap it to anything you can to keep it from wobbling around. And you can see your wire for the control goes inside. That rubber grommet is easier to get back inside from the interior. Just pull it all the way through and then just kind of lightly poke it back outwards, and it'll pop into the ring to hold that on. So that's it for under the hood. Alright, inside the car, you can drill a hole in here if you want to mount this somewhere. For me, I just brought it up under the steering wheel. And you can see right here, this is just little rubber. It actually has a slit cut in the corner here, and that button just happens to fit perfectly in there. So now you can just keep it in there, on and off. It's out of the way. You don't really see it when you're driving up here. So all you got to do, get a couple more zap straps, get that wire together and tuck it up underneath, and then this is out of the way without having to drill into your new Bronco. And now that we got it all on, you can come out, take your little cover off. You can see the actual LEDs, and then we'll flick them on. Nice and bright. Obviously it is daytime, so you can't see it that much, but maybe later on when it gets dark, we'll go out and do a little test just to see how bright these things actually are. All right, here they are on the outside. She is dark, a little bit lit up here, but we'll show you how they work. For lining up wise, I just pointed them slightly to the outside of the vehicle and just slightly down, because they are ditch lights. You want them to be sort of pointed off into the ditch and out of the side there a little bit. So you can see tons of LEDs in there, and then I'll turn it on. And so bright that if you're staring at them, you go blind. And you can see just how far out the light shines. Now, depending how you want these things pointed, you could put them more forward or more out to the side. That's all up to you and what look you're going for. But you can see out the side, in the front, plenty of light coming off of these things. All right, this is your look from the driver's seat. You can see they don't get in your way. You can just see the tip of that one. Most of it's behind the pillar. And that side, she is just tucked away nicely behind the antenna. And inside view of these things on, you can see right now is just the one street lamp lighting it up. Turn them on. Nice and bright. They could be pointed just slightly outwards more, then you won't get so much light on the hood. But you can tell by the trees in the far distance there, lights it up nicely for just two little lights. And what I'll do is I'll throw one of the covers on one side, and then you guys can see the difference. All right, now one look, I got the cover on that side, and this side has no cover, just to show you how well they actually work. Flick it on, you can see it is on. That cover, in case you're driving around, you do have to keep these on in most places. It's illegal to drive without them, just because you've seen how bright this thing is. So if anybody is bugging you and you flick these on, you're going to blind them, cause an accident. But in case you flick the switch or hit it by accident, as long as those covers are on, it's almost like nothing is there at all. So there you have it. Lights are installed, covers back on. Everything's going well. We got more lights coming, different headlights. You'll see what I mean when those come. Some rock lights, some lighting for the interior. So stay tuned for all that. If you have any questions about these, leave a comment. I'll get back to you. And make sure to subscribe. We'll catch you guys in the next video.